And I actually have another more left field theory, let's say.
Hey, my name is Esper and I'm here to answer all of your questions about Jujutsu Kaisen Movie Zero. Now, I try not to film right after I've woken up because my voice is really low and it puts me to sleep whenever I'm editing. I don't normally do super long intros, but I just wanted to thank everybody for the support on my Jujutsu Kaisen movie review. That was 40 minutes long and I was really nervous posting it, and it is by far my best performing video yet, so thank you. Also, thank you for 1,000 subs. That's kind of insane, and I am so grateful for all of your support, really, genuinely. Next week is my birthday and I'm making a little bit more of a personal video, so I hope you look forward to that. Without further ado, I'm going to answer all your questions about JJK Movie Zero. Before we start the video, I just want to say we are encroaching on manga spoilers territory. So there will be spoilers up until the latest chapter of Jujutsu Kaisen, which is this chapter. So that has been your warning, and let's get to the questions. Amanda Rogers asks, who is actually one of my mutuals on TikTok, and if you like My Hero content, you should go follow her. This all happened just a year before Yuji became Sukuna's vessel. Yes. So Yuji arrives in the Jujutsu Kaisen storyline in 2018. In 2017, all of the events of Jujutsu Kaisen Movie Zero happened. And 10 years prior to 2017, in 2007, is when Geto, Shoko, and Gojo were all in their second year of their term in Jujutsu High. Enjoy this rudimentary timeline that I made for you. I actually haven't made it yet, so I'm just offloading this work to future me. So the next questions are going to be from my TikTok. Fenrin asks, how did Kenjaku end up possessing Geto's body? Because with how damaged Geto's body was and the likelihood of his corpse being in the school, how? So this was actually explained in the Shibuya arc, and the explanation to this is really sad. The reason why Kenjaku was able to get a hold of Geto's body is because once Geto had died, Gojo didn't get rid of his body. I assume that instead of cremating Geto's body, Gojo had him either buried or put in a coffin and stored somewhere on the grounds of Jujutsu High. It wasn't really clear exactly where Geto was buried. His body was not destroyed. And this is just my personal theory, but I think that is because Gojo genuinely just could not bring himself to destroy Geto's body after he had killed him. And as for how Kenjaku was able to basically repair his body, I believe that he can repair the body that he is going to take over, and that is part of his curse technique, is to make the corpse that he's taking over habitable for himself. Next question from KK1996. When Inumaki told Yuta to run away or something, why didn't it affect him? Did he just not hear him? This is actually something I'm really excited to talk about because it is so beautifully, elegantly, and concisely explained in the manga. So whenever Inumaki uses his cursed speech, we have a black text bubble and white text. But in this panel where he is commanding Yuta to run away, we can see that the text bubble slowly turns from black into white, indicating that Inumaki could no longer sustain the command with enough cursed energy, and he wasn't actually able to finish the command to Yuta. And I just have to say, I know if you follow me on TikTok, you might have seen this already, but I just need to say it. Inumaki, who has accidentally cursed people in his life and now protects people by limiting his speech to onigiri ingredients, really just genuinely wants to help Yuta. He didn't know that Geto would have spared them. His only directive at that point, as he was laying on the ground, literally almost dead, was to use the last of his curse energy, his gift, his talent, and, you know, his curse to try to help Yuta and to help him get away from there and to absolve him of the guilt that he would have felt had he run away. And wow, just
the weight of that scene, I think about it all the time because Inumaki is such a kind and gentle soul, and it's so hard to get characterization from him because he doesn't say much. But I just love him so much.
So Bad Lamb asks, do we ever find out what, I'm gonna assume this is hypo and say, Gojo said to Geto at the end? I don't remember where I read this, so I'm sorry. I did try to look for it and I just couldn't find it. Hey, editing Esper here. With the help of my friend, I was able to find the Twitter thread that talked about the line between Gojo and Geto at the end, and here it is. The line that Gojo says to Geto at the end was actually written in, I think, the voice actor, the director, and the script writer, besides like Akutami Gege obviously, knows what the line is, but it was cut at the end of the movie and they decided to keep it as unheard. But I think only 4 people in the world know what that line actually was. I don't like to theorize particularly on what that line could be. Honestly, I think the point of that line mostly is just the effect that it had on Geto and a showcase of basically what their relationship still is like to this day, despite all of the hardships and basically trauma that they have gone through together. If I had to bet, I would say we're never going to find out what that line actually is. And I'm actually weirdly okay with that, just because I don't think that there will ever be a line that will live up to our expectations of what it is. You know, if we get a reveal, I'll be happy. If we don't get a reveal, I'm content. Although one thing worth noting is that Akutami sensei said whatever Gojo said to Geto, he had already said in volume 0. So I don't know if Akutami sensei is trolling us, but he said it, not me. So this is our 5th question, and a lot of people actually had questions about this, which is, what is Yuta's curse technique? For the manga readers, you know that we didn't get an explanation on Yuta's curse technique until literally last week on Friday. So we are not 100% sure yet as to what Yuta's curse technique actually is, but from my understanding, this is what I think the outline of his powers are. His reverse curse technique, I think, is inherent in him. I don't think that his reverse curse technique is a copy of Shoko's, who is the only person he would have had access to at that time who was able to use reverse curse technique to heal. Having seen volume 0, you know how absolutely fucked up this is. I think that Rika, the real person Rika, the 11-year-old girl who got ran over by a car, and Rika, the Shikigami, are 2 separate entities that were fused whenever Yuta cursed Rika, the real person. If you're not following, what I basically think happened is that Rika, as a manifestation, as a Shikigami, is Yuta's curse technique. It manifested as sort of a way to keep Rika, the human person, in this world. So when Rika, the human girl, left Rika, the Shikigami, Rika, the Shikigami, still stayed, and Rika, the soul of the girl who died, left. So that, I think, is what happened with Yuta's curse technique. This is not confirmed. This is just my personal theory on how I think I can explain how Rika is technically still there. I've seen, I think, a couple of people saying, floating around, that like Rika, the Shikigami, was like a gift from Rika. I'm not so sure about that, but that's another theory floating around out there. So under the assumption that Yuta's curse technique is Shikigami Rika, I think that copying techniques is something that is a secondary technique to that, because it seems like Yuta can only copy techniques when Rika is helping him. So my assumption is that that is a joint sort of technique that his Shikigami and him need to participate in for it to happen. But it seems as if there's a level 2 to Rika's powers, which is when Rika, the Shikigami, is connected to Yuta via the ring that Rika, this is getting a little confusing, Rika, the human person, gave to him. They have an allotted 5-minute connection where they're just
insane. So from the manga, this is direct from the manga, latest chapter is that the following things are possible when they are connected through the ring. Curse technique use, Rika's complete manifestation, whatever that means, we haven't seen it yet, and a cursed energy supply from Rika. So Rika as a Shikigami seems to be this sort of external drive that Yuta has as a storage for cursed energy and seemingly cursed weapons. So in other words, Rika as a Shikigami and a curse technique is actually kind of cracked. So long story short, Yuta as a descendant of Michizane Sugawara already has immense cursed energy, like intense, more than Gojo, by the way. Then his curse technique, Rika the Shikigami, is literally just an external storage for even more cursed energy. And yeah, long story short, Yuta and Rika are just cracked. And I just want to mention this briefly. It seems as if from the point of the movie Zero events to about a year later, which is where we're at in the story, Yuta has managed to evolve his use of copying curse techniques, because before he was using a megaphone to channel the Snake and Fang's sigil, but now he simply copied the seals on his own cheeks and tongue, which is insane. If you think about that, that is utterly insane. This is a genetic passed down curse technique that Yuta is able to apply on demand. That's insane. Yuta is incredibly powerful. I hope Gengen doesn't toss him in a box. I always tend to get a little bit unhinged in these videos, but that's just because I really love JJK and I'm actually having a lot of fun. So yeah, the last question. The question everybody has been waiting for. The question that you saw in the title of this video. Please explain the end credits scene. So to understand this scene, we have to do a little bit of a deep dive. It's like it's my specialty. Let's just start from the beginning. Gojo is currently in a box where Kenjaku put him in so that he can trap the Six Eyes and Limitless Curse user so that he can fulfill his plans to merge the world with Tengen so that he can evolve the human race. You still following me? Because that was a lot. So in September, about a month before the events of Shibuya, Gojo had an inkling that something would happen to him, which of course he did because he's so smart. And also, people don't give him enough credit for how actually smart Gojo is, but that is a conversation for a different video. Anyway, Gojo, knowing what he know and having the inkling that he did, sent Yuta to Africa with Miguel to hopefully find some more of the black rope that was used to nullify his curse technique. However, after having watched movie Zero, you know that all of the black rope had been used up in that fight, which took decades and decades to make by the sorcerers of Miguel's country. Miguel, if you remember from movie Zero, is the one who fought Gojo and used the black rope to disrupt his curse technique. So now all of that black rope was used up in that fight in that night. There is a second option for them, which is the inverted sphere of the heavens, which is destroyed by Gojo, ironically enough, or sealed away by him somewhere. Either way, it's MIA. So this is basically Gojo's insurance trip. So you're probably wondering, well, how does Miguel and Yuta know each other? Because they were on opposite sides of this fight. We know this from the fan book. Gojo actually recruits Miguel to train Yuta. I think Miguel and Yuta actually have a rapport because in one of the panels, we see Gojo asking for Miguel and Yuta saying he doesn't want to see you. But presumably, Yuta and Miguel have a friendly enough relationship where the two of them have kind of built up this sort of mutually beneficial relationship. We don't actually know that much more about Miguel besides the fact that he does come from a family of sorcerers, and I had this inkling that he was hired by Geto because he constantly talks about his quota. I'm not 100% sure on that. But what we do know is the fact that he did help Yuta, and by extension Gojo, to try to find some more of this black rope to nullify a curse technique. The box that Gojo is in actually has a back to it. The only way to actually undo this whole technique is either for cursed tools to be used to nullify the cursed energy and technique that keeps Gojo locked within this box, or if Kenjaku undoes it, or if somebody, presumably somebody fighting in the culling games, has a technique that nullifies other techniques. So yeah, that is what the end credit scene of Jujutsu Kaisen movie 0 was hinting at. It was the trip that Yuta took with Miguel to find more black rope to hopefully serve as Gojo's insurance card. But they were shit out of luck. And I actually have another more left field theory, let's say, about how Gojo could possibly get out of that box. And I talk about it in this video where I detail all of the various ways that Geto could actually come back. So give that a watch if you're interested. But yeah, thank you for watching this video. I hope my explanations were coherent. I had a lot of fun filming this video. Like this video if you liked it, subscribe for more, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.